I got this crazy ass story that happened in Kansas City. It's about this dude named Robert Burdella. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know, but they called him the Kansas City Butcher. From 1984 to 1987, he kidnapped and tortured 6 dudes, bro.
Dudes,
yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and it was really weird. He even said too, he said while I was doing it, he said it was my darkest fantasies were becoming reality.
What does
the
he mean
shit
by
that he was doing to them. I'll get into it, but he started off, I think as a kid, I think he got S8 or something like that as a kid. I might be wrong about that, but some crazy shit happened to him when he was a kid. Kind of fucked him up, and he was in college and he was selling drugs. He was selling and shit. I think he ended up getting caught up, but then they let him go. I think he got bailed out or whatever the fuck. While he was in college, he actually got kicked out of his school because he killed a duck and cooked it for an art piece.
What?
Yeah, bro. So after he gets kicked out, he starts hanging out with hella male fun time workers and drug addicts, criminals and shit like that. First he was saying that he was just trying to help them clean up their their lives or whatever the fuck, and a lot of his neighbors even said oh yeah, he's damn near foster parents to the guys on the streets and shit like that, But really though, he was
doing weird shit to
getting sexual favors from these guys, all this crazy shit, right? His first victim was on July 5th of 1984, and it was this 19-year-old dude named Jerry Howell. He promised this dude to take him to some dance show or some shit like that. He was gonna take him out there, but while on the way there, bro, he's feeding him hella alcohol and shit like that. Yeah, and he ends up drugging him to the point where he falls asleep. He fucking takes him back to his house, bro, and he keeps him locked up for 28 hours.
Fuck.
While he's torturing, bro. He's SAing him and all this bullshit, bro. He ends up dying because of all the drugs. He ends up asphyxiating off all the drugs and shit.
Oh.
After that, after he dies, because he even tried to give him CPR and shit, but dude ends up dying and shit, and he fucking chops him up with a chainsaw and stuffs him in a garbage bag and just leaves him outside for the garbage man to come pick him up the next morning.
Really?
Yeah, and they really picked him up and threw him away. And that was his first victim. He ended up killing 6 other guys. Some of the dudes he did shit to were manly as fuck, bro. One dude, bro, he ended up
wait, you said
him so bad that fucking ruptured his shit, bro. One dude, he fucking got 7,700 volts connected him to his testicles and was electrocuting him. And he would connect to his shoulders and shit, electrocute his shoulders and all this shit, bro.
What?
Because this guy, he also became a chef, actual a really good chef in his town and shit. That's why they called him the Butcher, because he was good at chopping shit up or whatever the fuck. In his diary that they ended up finding, when he wrote about the dude that he electrocuted his testicles, he said afterwards, he was feeling weak, sick this day or whatever the fuck, and he said the next day all he wrote on his diary entry was he 86th. And I don't know if you know what that means, but in the restaurant, some shit like that, let's say you order a steak or something like that, right? But there's no more steak, you get the last one. I'll tell the cooks, hey, 86 the steak. That means that there's no more steak anymore in the restaurant. So that's what I thought that was just so, because I worked at a restaurant, so when I heard that he mentions him he's a fucking piece of food, he 86th, he doesn't exist no more. Yeah. And another guy, he poured drain cleaner down his throat just to try to get him to stop screaming and shit. He electrocuted his eyelids so much to try to blind him so he couldn't see anything, bro. He ended up getting caught up because his last victim on March 29th of 1988, well, I don't know if that's the day he caught him, but he ends up catching his last victim, bro. It was this 22-year-old male fun-time worker named Chris Bryson. He's got him captured, bro. He's doing weird shit to him, but somehow this dude Chris gets Robert to trust him enough. Because before he was tying his hands over his head, and he kind of told him yo, you might as well just tie him in front of me. Kind of just tell him bro, you can trust me. I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm not gonna run away. Whatever the fuck. Robert trusts him, bro. He starts tying him up like that. One day before Robert goes to work or whatever, he leaves a book of matches with bro kind of close to him, enough for him to grab it. So he ends up grabbing it, bro. Sets his little ropes or whatever the fuck he had, tying him up on fire. So he lets him go. He jumps off the second floor of this building that they're in, bro. All he's wearing is a fucking dog collar.
What?
That's all he's wearing. Butt ass naked with the dog collar on. Runs to a meter maid that's across the street, giving someone a ticket. That's probably the first time that someone was ever happy to see a meter maid in their life, right? He walks up to him and he tells him what the fuck happened to him. He's kidnapped and shit.
Yeah.
And they end up getting the cops. Cop goes to Robert's house, and at first I don't think they go in at first until they get a search warrant. And they get a search warrant, bro, and they find a fucking skull in one of his closets on the second floor where he had all his people at. They find a fucking severed head and buried in the backyard. They end up arresting him, giving him life in jail, and he ended up dying in 1992 in prison.
Damn, bro. What the fuck?
Crazy as
bro,
fuck,
Kenny
bro.
was a terror. Seriously, bro.
Insane,
what the fuck?
bro.
What was his name again?
Robert Burdella? I think that's how you say his last name. I don't know. But they called him the Kansas City Butcher.
Jesus
That's what they called him.
Christ, bro.